I'm helping you book your next trip. So if you have credit card points and you are trying to think of what to do with them or where to go, I've got you covered here in this video. In today's video, I have 4 round-trip nonstop flights, and that is Atlanta to Belize, Los Angeles to Australia, Boston to Miami, and New York to Colombia. And I'm even throwing in a bonus, Dallas to Nigeria. That one does have a layover. Hey, welcome back. My name is Chloé, and Brands of Chloé is all things personal finance, travel, and lifestyle vlogs. Right now with the Capital One Venture X credit card, there is a transfer bonus for the month of March. And that transfer bonus is with Virgin Atlantic Flying Club, or Virgin Red. I'm going to show you how you're going to transfer over your points. I'm going to show you the flight options and award availability, how many points it's going to cost you, the taxes, and the cent per point value. Please keep in mind, award availability does change. I found all of these flight options on March 14th. Just make sure you jump on it. If you don't have a credit card to transfer things over, I'm also going to be showing the Delta Airlines version of these points. So if you have a lot of points in Delta, you'll be able to see how you could possibly book these flights as well. All right, so I already did the work for you. I found all these flights and the deals. So if you could do me a favor and give this video a big thumbs up, that way I know you like this type of content, and that way we can continue to get everybody traveling this summer and fall. That would be very helpful. And share this video with your travel buddy as well. First, let's quickly get into how you're going to transfer over your points. As I mentioned, the Capital One Venture X credit card does have a transfer bonus right now with Virgin Atlantic Airlines, but there are other cards that can transfer over to Capital One Venture X, Amex credit cards, Chase Sapphire credit cards, the Bilt credit card. My last video is on the Bilt World Elite Master credit card. That one allows you to pay your rent with no fees, and you can still earn points, and you could transfer those points to hotel and airline transfer partners. So if you haven't seen that one, I will link it up above for you as well. But tons of options for you to transfer your points to Virgin Atlantic. So even if you don't have the Capital One Venture X card, you might not get the bonus, but some of these are still good deals and you could use your points that way. I have booked a trip before with Virgin Atlantic with my Amex card, but for Capital One, it's a little different. You have to put in your Virgin Red membership number, link your Virgin Atlantic Flying Club and your Virgin Red accounts. That way the points are together and you could use that to book these flights. When you are transferring these points, it has to be in increments of 1,000. For every 1,000 points you have in Capital One Venture X Rewards, if you transfer it right now in the month of March to Virgin Atlantic, you will get 1,300 points for them. So this process is pretty straightforward. It says it could take up to 24 hours to transfer. Typically, I don't have to wait that long for points to transfer in, but also keep in mind, once you transfer your points, it is permanent. So be sure to double check the award availability first before you book your flights. Okay, let's get into it. Some key points to keep in mind when you're booking on Virgin Atlantic. You will go ahead and you will put in your starting city or airport, and then you have to manually click where you want to go. It doesn't really allow you to type it in, so keep that in mind. You'll go and you'll click on the full list. You'll go by country, and then you could pick the city or the airport for that country that you're trying to go to. When you're doing a lot of searches and you're trying to play with the dates and see different options, after a while, it's going to tell you there's no availability, even if there really is. So be sure to just exit out, clear your history or your cookies, go back in, and if you put those same exact dates literally 2 minutes later, it's going to pop up again with the availability. They do that, I don't know why, but if you're coming across, you're like, wait a minute, I know I just saw availability for these dates like 10 minutes ago and now it's gone, just try to exit and go back in. That's just a little tip for y'all because I've had that happen to me a few times. All these flights are actually operated by Delta Airlines. Virgin Atlantic Airlines is a partner with Delta. Usually you're able to book these flights for less points and taxes and fees on Virgin's website, but it's going to be a Delta flight. So right after you book it, you can go into your Delta account and you should be able to see that flight right there in your account. For all these trips that I'm mentioning, even if you don't live in the state or the city where the trip is originating from, it might just be cheaper for you to catch a flight from New York to Los Angeles and then go on that trip. I know for me, I can almost never find award availability out of Dallas. I'm constantly flying from Dallas to New York, and I'm getting great deals out of New York. Typically, flights from Dallas to New York are very affordable. So it's easy for me to do that. So keep that in mind. Even if it's not your city, you still might be able to find a cheap flight within the US to get to that starting point. Okay, let's start off with Atlanta to Belize, and this trip will be in September. Atlanta to Belize, your dates are September 6th to September 14th. So starting off ATL, and then you'll go and click on Belize. These are the September dates that pop up, and it says 23,000 points, but we know there's a transfer bonus. So for this flight, it would be $78.45 in taxes and fees. And this one, you would only have to transfer over 18,000 points. Hello, let's go. As we jump into Delta's website to see the dollar value of this flight from Atlanta to Belize cost $637.15. This is how many points Delta themselves are charging for this flight. But the cent per point value for the Capital One transfer, $637.15 minus $78.45. That's your number there. Divide that by 18,000 points and then times that by 100. That gives you 3.1 cents per point. Great value. Okay, next up, Los Angeles to Sydney, Australia. Let's go in July. So this is a summer trip. I don't know if it's summertime in Australia in July, but that's when we found the deal. So you put in LAX, manually put in Sydney, Australia. I'm going to throw in these July dates, and then you're going to see this map pop up, and it's showing 90,000 points. Let's click on this. For this example, I'm picking July 11th to July 20th. And again, it was showing 90,000 points on Virgin Atlantic's website, and for $103.65 in taxes. But if you have the Capital One Venture X credit card, you would only need to transfer in 70,000 points, and you would have enough points to book this trip. Quickly showing you the Delta options. The actual dollar value of this flight is $2,484.95. Wow. In order to calculate the cent per point, so you take the 2,000 number, subtract the taxes and fees you're paying, then divide that by 70,000 points times 100. That gives you a cent per point value of 3.4 cents. That is pretty good. Next up, let's do Boston to Miami. If you want to get a little summer trip into Miami on points, here's your option for June. We're back in Virgin Atlantic. For Boston to Miami, the flight dates are June 11th to June 14th. It's showing 23,000 points right here. And this is a domestic flight, so $11.20 in tax round trip. The actual dollar value of this flight is $267.80. And this is how many points Delta is charging for this. This is actually less points than Virgin Atlantic. So, hey, keep that in mind. But again, just to stay consistent, the Capital One Venture X transfer cent per point value for this flight is actually only 1.4. Not the best. Usually try to get like 2 minimum about. This one's 1.4, but I've noticed sometimes for domestic flights, your cent per point value can be a little bit less. You could always use your points how you see fit. So if you don't care, you just want to use up your points and not spend almost $300 on a flight, here is your option. Jumping into our next flight option, New York to Bogota, Colombia. Another fall trip for you. This flight is in September. We're back in Virgin Atlantic, JFK to Bogota. These are the September options. We're picking September 14th to the 19th. It's showing 30,000 points here and $83.95 in taxes. Jumping over to Delta, the same exact flight is actually worth $530.65. This is how many points Delta would charge you for this flight. With the Capital One Venture X transfer bonus to Virgin Atlantic, you would only need to use up 24,000 points. This brings your cent per point value to 1.9. Just under that 2. But hey, 24,000 points is not bad. I think that's still a pretty great option. So all those were round trip, nonstop flights. Let's get into the bonus of Dallas to Lagos, Nigeria. So Dallas to Lagos, I'm going to show you 2 different options here because you could book one trip with fewer points but pay more in taxes, or you could book another trip with some more points but a lot less in taxes and a friendlier layover. Let's get into it. First option, Dallas to Lagos, and this is going to be October 4th to the 11th. Put these in. These are the dates. As you can see here, it's showing 54,000 and 87,000. Two different options. Let's first go with the 54,000 one. $537.55 in taxes. To me, that sounds like a lot in taxes, especially if you're already using so many points, but we're gonna get into the breakdown. So this flight is actually with Air France, okay? These are the exact same flights. Keep in mind, that's a long layover too, and that layover is in Paris. So this trip, the dollar value is $1,534.45. You're paying over $500 in taxes. With the Capital One transfer bonus, you're only transferring over 42,000 points. This brings your cent per point value to 2.4. That's not bad, it's above 2. To me, anything above 2 is valuable, but then it just comes down to your preferences. So like I said, this one to me seems like a lot of taxes. It's an international layover, but let's check out the other option. So now the other option is with Delta Airlines. The same exact dates, October 4th to the 11th. This one is showing 87,000 points, but you're only paying $148.55 in taxes. That's a lot better. So when we go to Delta's website, this is the exact Delta flight right here. It's a layover in Atlanta and it's much shorter. So you're saving on time and probably ease of not having to go through customs or border or anything. You're just going from Dallas to Atlanta. Quick, easy layover. This flight on Delta is worth $1,474.25. With the Capital One Venture X transfer bonus, you wouldn't have to transfer over 87,000 points. You would only have to transfer over 67,000 points. And doing all that math, that brings our cent per point value to 2.0. 2 cents per point, a whole lot less in taxes, and an easier layover. To me, that seems like the better option, but hey, maybe you don't have 67,000 points, maybe you only have 45. So that 42 one would probably be better for you. But again, it comes down to preference and what you like. As a thank you for staying for this whole video, I'm throwing some bonus options out there for y'all. I found award availability on Virgin Atlantic to St. Martin, London, Paris, Amsterdam, Phoenix, Arizona, Orlando, Florida, and others. So be sure you are capitalizing on this bonus and you're going to check out all these availability. As I said earlier, I've booked with Virgin Atlantic before for a Delta flight. Soon you will see that book a trip with me on my channel, but jump on these flights, take advantage of this March transfer bonus. I really hope you found this video helpful. If you have found other availability for other cities, destination, dates, etc., please drop them in the comments. Let's help everybody out. Let's get us all on some flights this summer and fall with points. If you liked this video, I have other videos on my channel that are similar. Share this video with your travel and credit card point friends. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.